Again, not if you want it to happen. I think everybody wants it to happen because they want real accountability. You know, just getting fired after you do some heinous stuff and take a massive amount of money. It's not
Yeah, I
enough,
don't know.
obviously. You should be prosecuted criminally. If you
That's
want
on
it, right?
the Coach
But I
Collins
can't
channel.
see it actually happening. And
Yeah,
I'm not
a lot of the
undermining
classes like
Trump
his
or
channel.
anything because he doesn't have what it takes. It's just
I do too. Yes,
I don't know.
or I wouldn't
I've
watch.
never seen that before. Have you seen that before? But I guess this is the presidency where you're seeing a lot of things you haven't seen. A lot of unveiling is happening right now. So, like President Trump said in regards to possibly having to take military action on the cartels, when he was asked about that, if he could do it, he said, it could happen. Stranger things have happened. And he kind of just brushed off the question from there. I guess stranger things have happened. We're just talking about criminals going to jail. Why would criminals go to jail? But again, back to that question, what would they do to stop that? That's the thing to think about right now.
Nothing.
I don't think they have control, but it's really hard to tell
Yeah,
because we're only getting
I see that.
a
Very
very
cool.
thin vision of
Yeah, for us here, we're just hoping again they can acknowledge what's been going on here for years. We've been trying to explain that. We understand the targeting and the misunderstanding, people being upset. How people are ignoring a lot of that and not discussing it mainstream and making a mockery of it. Really sad. It's sad, it's disappointing, it's disgusting. So we have children here, mentally ill people that have been being targeted, and for some reason a lot of people seem to be okay with that and turn their heads to it and want to judge and analyze and decide as to whether or not people deserve it. Very, very disturbing what's been happening for a long time. I know there are a lot of people coming out of the 15-year investigations starting back in 2010. That was after we had a private investigator here shoot himself. His name was Christopher LaJoy. He was trying to bring up the issues with the trafficking, both drugs, human. There was a lot of different things going on. Yeah, and by 2010, when you look at how we had already been on the security surveillance probation programs for over 10 years, yeah, we try to explain that to people, and it's very sad to us to see how our own parents and people around here have been gaslit and going along with a lot of these stupid investigations. We've been not laughing about it, but it's kind of a joke. It's ridiculous. In 2012, some of the highest ups, most trusted sources were pulling their hair out, disgusted, not knowing what to do because of so many innocent, vulnerable people at the hands of these sickos, and people at the higher levels not understanding, just looking at it as though they're protecting some kind of private security system, homeowners associations, protecting the island activity. They're humanitarians, activists, good people. We've explained that to people. We got a lot of animal activists on board back in 2015, 2016. Some sooner than that, if you want to go back. So in 2012, when we told them, we knew they weren't going to get away with this. They make foreign hoax channels abusing people and children and animals here. And then they show that to people at all these little island stations set up like the Epstein Island. So this is a classic example, and we've been trying to tell people that for years, and how it's been being ignored and things have been being kept segregated. And the psychological bullshit that we've been watching happen to our parents and our children is absolutely fucking insane. And we're hoping people can start just acknowledging those facts and concerns and stop with trying to judge people, their history, if they're criminals. It doesn't matter if someone's a criminal or not. Doesn't mean you don't acknowledge facts and concerns that they might be speaking about. These are simple, basic fucking facts and concerns that people are ignoring because they want to say the people bringing up those issues are criminals or on disability. And we're like, duh. And people who investigate these things know these punks target mentally ill people on disability. So when something happens or there's an accidental overdose or an accident, nobody really cares or it was bound to happen. That when they're already being targeted for other things and people already really hate them. Snitch, non-vaxxer. This is really fucking disgusting and disturbing. I have 4 children here. My first child was vaccine injured in 2006 when I was diagnosed with chronic Lyme disease in Connecticut. Some Indians on a reservation in Arizona told my mom to take me to him. His name's Bernard Raxlin. He's a Lyme specialist. They said I was sick as a dog with Lyme disease. It was horrible. It was really bad. I had previous trauma and injuries too, so bacterial overload, spinal injuries, head trauma. It's understandable. Yeah, when you look at what a lot of the state people and opinions and third party stuff going on, a lot of people I haven't even seen since the 90s, right? Like people that were offended and insulted. That's stuff I said when I was 8 and 12 and a drunk teenager. Yeah. Interesting, isn't it? Yeah, so a lot of that was before I was put on the programs, and in 2000, when I was put on those programs when I was 18 and started working for those fundraising programs, and I had met that private investigator, Christopher LaJoy, over here when he lived on Amherst Street by the old Kmart. Yes. He would start dating my sister. Yes, and I started dating Mr. Bishop, who would be the father of my oldest two, who ran away after the private investigator shot himself, and then the punk showed up. He shaved his blue mohawk, and him and his buddies were messaging me. We got Squid, Fever Captain. Hey, Mikey, they like it, they like it. Yeah, and then you had the Fred Wheeler guy. We had stayed in a few of his apartments. Remember, we left here in 2008 after the interactions at the Maine Parent Federation. We were trying to bring up the vaccine injuries and concerns with overprescribing of SSRIs and the misconceptions with schizophrenia. And I mean, that all curtails with religious sectors and syndications and marketing directly connected to the same fundraising, whatever you want to call them, mob, mafia, cartel, fundraising companies. There's good and bad sectors, just like anything else. You can say right or left. Are there good and bad people? Isn't everyone good, though? And some just do bad things? Or what party do I claim to be a good person? Who are the good people? Is it the liberals? They're puppy lovers. That must be them. It's so fucking disgusting what's happening here, Augusta, Maine. So my name is Mary. We're at the Governor John Hill Mansion in Augusta, Maine. As always, check it out. What's it all about? Check out these cute solar lights. These at Walmart. It has a spiky thing if you want to put it outside on the ground. It's solar powered. I should put it in the window. Isn't that cute? Yes, I got some requests. Ministry Burnout. I love this book. This is a really good book. It was written in 1982. Okay. 62. I got this stuff yesterday at Walmart. It's called Moisturizing Lip Balm. Squatch. Oh, it's men's. Men's daily use. Missed that one, huh? Doctor's notes. Apply as needed directly to your lips for extra protection and moisturization throughout the day. Dr. Squatch. It's a vanilla bourbon flavor. It's really nice, actually.
I like it.
Yeah, I might even rub it on my ass cheeks, just for fun. Page 62. The breach of the we participates the child's own egocentricity, which eventually becomes his own adult egocentric adaptation. Can I speak less narcissistically? You're so funny. Egocentricity has one main concern: the desire to defend the ego at all costs. The egocentric attitude produces a personality that revolves around the ego and directs a person's energies to the maintenance and defense of the ego. You could say that the egocentric person, instead of going out into the world to find genuine life, spends most of his time building and defending the walls of a castle. He reckons his castle has a place of defense and security, when in fact it is more like a prison. The price a person pays for his egocentricity is the sacrifice of the creative life. For life, in order to be creative, must be centered around the real self, not around the ego. The real self is the essential core of the personality, out of which emerges our genuine personality, and is the source of all creative living. It is not that ego is inherently evil. When the ego assumes its proper role in the personality, it is positive and creative because it is in contact with the real self. Only when the ego deviates from its proper function and purpose does it become the instrument of darkness. From the Christian point of view, the egocentric ego is rebelling against the will of God and deviating from its God-ordained purpose in life, and this deviation constitutes sin. But when the ego is redeemed from its egocentric posture and plays its proper role in life, it is related to God and God's will. For this reason, Kunkel felt that God tries to free us from our egocentricity and lead us to creative life. This requires a developing consciousness in our part, including consciousness in our egocentric deviations, as well as the kind of maturation that can only come through carrying life's suffering properly. When this state of being is achieved, we might say with St. Paul, this place used to be called St. Paul's Center. We might say with St. Paul, I live now not with my own life, that is the egocentric ego, but with the life of Christ, which psychologically speaking is the real self, who lives in me. Gal 220. Hey, Dad. The egocentricity of the child and later of the adult may take one of several forms. Which form emerges depends on the basic nature of the child and the circumstances in which the child is raised. The important factors are the harshness or softness of the environment on the one hand and the relative vitality, aggressiveness, and determination of the child on the other hand. The resulting combinations are 4 in number. 1. A child who lacks vitality and or aggressiveness or is overly sensitive is raised in an environment that is soft, indulgent, and overly permissive. This is the pampered child. 2. A child who has considerable vitality and aggressiveness and some talents to go with them is raised in a soft, indulgent, and overly permissive environment. This is the admired child. A child who lacks, number 3, a child who lacks vitality and aggressiveness is raised in a harsh, brutal environment. This is the rejected, injured child. Say it again. Mufasa. Number 4.
Mufasa.
Number 4. A child who has a great deal of vitality and aggressiveness is raised in an environment that is harsh and brutal. This is the self-assertive, brutalized child. Why, Clarice, I feel like every four, each and every day. Can add a few to it, actually. Why, there might be 10 of me. Knock that off, Sybil. Out of these four possible combinations come the four types of ego eccentricity that Kunkel calls the clinging vine, the star, the turtle, and the Nero, also known as the tyrant. Oh, I like that. We have already described the clinging vine to a certain extent, but at the risk of repetition, let us look at this type again. We will read some more later. That's 1616. Hey, good luck. You could say bad omen. I can say good. You could say either one. What a pessimist. We try to think positive. Okay. Yes, it's an awesome book. It's not that long of a read, actually. It's a pretty short book. A lot of people in class get through it in an hour. It's 115 pages. This book, and especially this last chapter, can be looked upon as a kind of cookbook, a list of recipes that have proved useful to some people. Such books are often helpful, but they are no substitute for the imagination, creativity, and resourcefulness that God can send to each person who struggles with his or her own problem of burnout in order to find a new direction for life. What's that? We were just reading about the European nation. It is very interesting, isn't it? Writers of Modern England, Columbia University. Good choice. Page 46. Page 45. Hmm. 484. One moment. 483. How Shaw contrived to make a drama out of his philosophical religion is an interesting study. To be sure, he required 5 parts, as he calls them, one of which is subdivided into 2 and one into 3 acts. But in those 5 parts, requiring 3 nights to act, he carries the hearer from the Garden of Eden through the present to the year 3000 AD, and then finally on, as far as thought can reach, to a time when men and women are hatched out of eggs, reach passionless maturity at 4, and live forever. Part 1, Act 1, shows us only Adam, Eve, and the serpent in the garden. Far from indulging in the comedy you might expect from GBS, which such a cast, the act is grave and serious. Adam is oppressed with the idea that he must live forever, unless he stumbles and is killed, like the dead fawn he finds. To Eve, the serpent whispers the secret of how to achieve immortality for the race by reproduction, taking the burden off the individual. Act 2, centuries later, outside the garden, shows us Adam delving, Eve spinning, and Cain, the first murderer, refusing to do either. Immortality by reproduction of the race isn't working so well. Cain scorns work. It is more fun hunting and fighting. He has discovered war. He scoffs off his father and demands more and more fighting men from his mother. Only Eve is calm. She and Adam are to die when they are 1,000. She too scorns Adam's dull plodding, and she despises Cain's bloodthirsty childishness. Men need not always live by bread alone, she says. There is something else. We do not yet know what it is, but someday we shall find out, and then we will live on that alone. and there shall be no more digging, nor spinning, nor fighting, nor killing. Part 2. The Gospel of the brothers Barnabas is laid in the present, i.e. England, just after the Great War. Its relation to the play as a whole is clear, but by itself it is a characteristic and hearty satire on British politicians, with two of the leading characters obviously parodies on Asquith and Lloyd George. These two leaders come to the brothers Barnabas for political aid, and the brothers give them instead, for a liberal platform, the idea that men don't live long enough to learn sense, and the human lifespan must be lengthened to 300 years. Their reception of this platform, this slogan of the back to Methuselah, can perhaps be imagined by imagining how it would be received in a Republican convention in the United States. Part 3 is called The Thing Happens. The scene is the office of the President of the British Isles in 2170 AD. Those who say Shaw doesn't write play must have a hard time explaining away the fact that here Shaw conforms to the most orthodox rule, which says that having roused curiosity along certain lines, the dramatist must gratify it not by explanation, but by the actual stage scene. Shaw has roused our curiosity to see somebody actually live 300 years, and our wonder as to what the effect on them would be. And in this episode, he shows us two people, the recent and the parlor maid of the previous part, who are now in their 3rd century. By having others of his characters' descendants of people in the previous part and satirically unchanged, he throws an air of wisdom and grave dignity about his double centuries and contrives both comedy and seriousness. Part 4 pushes farther into the future. It is divided into 3 acts and is interminably long and at times gregariously repetitious. The British Isles are now entirely inhabited by the long livers. The British Isles are now entirely inhabited by the long livers, the capital of the British Empire having been moved to Baghdad. An envoy from the capital has come to Galway to consult the oracle there, and brought along his family, including an elderly Briton, his father-in-law. An Eastern emperor, Napoleon Redivivus, has also come for the same purpose. Affairs have reached a pass where the long livers have little understanding of or patience with the politics and pluralities of ordinary men, and where they have achieved the power by psychic forces or unknown rays to isolate anybody they choose from any distance. There are comedy, satire, and in the hocus pocus of blue lights and music and thunder staged by the oracle, a good deal of picturesqueness in these 3 acts, and the fate of the elderly gentleman, who perishes because he cannot bear to go back to the trivialities and hypocrisies of ordinary life. It is not without a pathetic dignity, but they are unquestionably long-winded and needlessly repetitious. The final part, as far as thought can reach, depicts a Shavian vision of the evolutionary goal. The human race is now hatched from eggs, begins at once to flirt and cajole and love and of course argue, and at the age of 4 puts away childish things such as art and companionship, each soul withdrawing into a kind of solitary eternity of intellectual contemplation, a Shivian nirvana. What? Build the greenhouses. Our public and healthcare systems are in dire need. Greenhouses are a great idea. We're here, we'll volunteer. We have a lot of free time on our hands. We can help with a lot of things. Yeah, don't worry, we'll keep an eye on ourselves and each other. I could stop breathing in 5, 4, 3, 2. People have aneurysms and heart attacks all the time, you know. One lady got taken out in a snowdrift yesterday in Poland. Yeah. You've got to be careful. And I wouldn't go out on the roads in that kind of weather unless you absolutely have to. I mean, you can get caught in a snowdrift and not know it. The roads could be fine, and then all of a sudden the wind picks up and you have these snowdrifts and the road is covered in snow and you hit a slick spot, dead. And that's life. That's what people say. Cause the green grass grows all around, and the green grass grows all around. I did notice that. You are very observant. The video was at 26. Yeah. What does that mean? 26 has been a really popular number. Does not mean anything. It's just being observant, that's all. Well, life's funny sometimes. Well, I guess it depends. Was it your winning number? Someone else's winning number. Do you feel their pain? You know what those children are going through in the hands of these punks over the years? While people who are aware scream from these silent boxes, while people friggin' talk about bullshit and use their platforms and our media as their personal fucking dramatic soap opera bullshit stages. It's fucking disgusting. Sorry, kids. We tried. We see other people trying, it appears. They seem like good people. A lot of people in class are talking about that. Trump and Musk and Hannity interview. They seem like they're trying to help. And there are a lot of people taking advantage of all these bullshit allocation, open doors, funding. You can't really attach that to a party or a person. We have to look at the individual situations, and when people are trained to ignore all of those people and concerns as conspiracy and crazy, it's so fucking disgusting how people are protecting their sick fucking buddies. I know. That residual income, where's all that money coming from anyways? Not too much of a paper trail, is there? This land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Islands, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I was walking that ribbon of highway. It is a beautiful day. Who the fuck cares? Can we please address the facts and concerns? We have vaccine-injured children here. It's amazing what's been going on. People know what we're talking about. We're coming out of a 15-year. We let this go for 15 years. It was important, you know, to weed out, drain the swamp. And, yeah. Fucking disgusting. It's disheartening. It fucking tears our hearts out what's been going on over the years, and just watching the spectacle and people just throw fuel and cheap shots. But I think people continually are waking up having to play along, feed into different roles, assignments, jobs, mandates. We know. That's why we're very patient, loving, and understanding. We're explaining to you that not everybody's aware in these situations, and that's when you see people blow shit the fuck up and shoot up schools and malls and kill each other and their children and their parents and themselves. Right, and then when you have aware people who continually get taken out, freak accidents, overdoses, get silenced, bullied, strong-armed, killed, oh my god, it's horrible. Put in mental institutions, disorderly conducts, holy shit, hate speech. Put them away for something. Don't acknowledge, don't you dare. If anything, this is defamation. Talk about that good person like that. These are good people. Now, when you look at the fucking history and what's going on here, this is so fucking disturbing and disgusting. So, I don't know. I mean, if it's... Hello? Exactly. Thank you. Thank you very much. Right, you would think they'd talk to us if that was the case, right? So, hopefully people keep using their common sense and waking up and stop ignoring these things. These children can't talk. They're making foreign hoax channels. Then they show it to people on little Epstein Island type scenarios and communities. They're making so much money off of this shit. They kill innocent people. Yeah, there is an old system in the workings, right, where they have teams embedded in people all throughout the CIA, yeah, FBI, sure. Prison systems, hand in hand, rehabilitated. Mom said we had a politician back in the day who tried blowing his whole family up. He was rehabilitated. Yeah, so he could rig the whole house with dynamite or something. Yeah, Mom used to work at AMI. She knows about the crazy stuff. Yeah. It's really freaking stupid. Yeah, that's what they do. That's why they call them jerk videos. This is real, but it's not real. Yeah, it's actually happening. Right. There's a lot of money being funneled. Yes, funneled is a word. Yes, it is. Look it up. Yeah, funneled. Did I fumble? I don't know. It really doesn't matter. Hopefully anyone watching and listening is aware. Trying to show you how they've been getting away with it for years. We've been watching this since we were kids. Look at what was happening in the 90s. And the associations and connections there. People keep playing fucking stupid, and this is so disgusting to us, and just watching what people are paying attention to. Oh yeah, with the transgender stuff and just the fact that it's getting catered to at that level, and they're allowing it to be a distraction from people trying to talk about serious things and help the public systems. And they're just continuing to aid and abet the abuse and suffering. But it's okay, it's just the poor people, right? Just the poor people raising your taxes because they're retarded and on disability. Just a bunch of drug addicts, huh? Oh, the drugs that the people who pay you push onto them? Fucking assholes. Bunch of fucking morons, you really are. Much love, health, and peace. We're here when anyone wants to talk about the facts and concerns. We're here for your safety. Much love. Trying to help. We'd love to see the public and education systems, healthcare systems get some help. Greenhouses. Better education about basic human understanding, bacterial stuff, infectious disease. Kind of understanding those things. Yeah, no, we can just keep making stupid mandates and pumping them with drugs and putting fear into them. Yeah, sure. I mean, half the people don't even know how to use this stuff, and they know that, and they make fun of that, or go on the internet. A lot of in the people in the areas where some of the worst abuse is happening. That's where you see a lot of the people who just watch Fox News and don't go, and then they take advantage of it. And they know that. I don't know if they realize it. I don't know if they're just so lost in their own fucking ego. I don't. Maybe they're writing a book. Thanks, Scooby Doo. Here's looking at you, kid. Oh my gosh, that's too funny. Yeah, we're gonna check that out in a little bit. It's about 7:30 here. Will we make some oatmeal or something? That brown sugar cinnamon one's really good. Yeah, anytime. We're right here. Thank you, and you're welcome. Yeah, the sun's really bright. Feels good.